what you're looking at is a lion's face. See the eyes here, and you see the snout. This is the snout, and this is the mouth open. Now you see I'm not crazy because here's a crown. See that? So I know I'm not crazy. I know it, and here it is. It's been revealed, and I don't know. I've never seen anyone ever say it like this, but now I know. Like even most of these crosses, the one I see the most is some of the hardcore Rastafarian. They wear this one, and I think now that this one's a tree. That may be a tree of life. It's not a cross, but actually a tree. Literally a tree. You know, see a tree. A tree. I think it represents a tree, not a cross. What in a sense could be a cross too, but yeah. So you see it for yourself that I'm not making that up, and not only am I not making up, I believe not only do they have the male, that's the male line because he has his mouth open, and it looks like he would have a mane, but at the same time, there's another image here also. If you turn to the side, there's another crown right here. And I believe it's different from the bottom one. But it's another image of a lion also. You see the lion eyes here also, which is, I believe there's probably... I'm starting to think, actually now, if this is believed to be a protective amulet, so lines are facing everywhere then technically, and this is the most ferocious one. That lion, the motif, the image of the lion and of Ethiopia is of God. It represents God, is of God, and maybe that's what this means. All four corners, every which way you're being protected. But for now, I'll say that there's a male lion here and there's another image because there's another crown here on the side, and maybe that's the female because there's the eyes here. Here, I'll turn it again, and you can see it. See the crown? Even though it looks like the same at the bottom, but it's a little different. But at the same time, I would say now that God's protection is in all directions, so you can't get disturbed. Nothing could disturb you because the wearer of this knows that he's protected all around. But at the same time, realize that the Ethiopians are known for lion taming. And many of you have seen the image of the lion there with Haile Selassie. And the lion, clearly, who could argue this now? Again, I was attacked by a couple people saying that I'm misinfoing and I'm showing wrong and I'm misleading the youth, all that nonsense. And look, I can't make this up. This is no forgery. This is a real Ethiopian cross, and made to serve whoever wears it, and whoever made it believes in it. Because look at the detail. This is not a mold. But again, this is the mouth. It's open. It's whiskers. See the eye? See the eyes? See? And it's mane. And you can rewind it and look at the pictures where it's the green background. You see the image of a lion. So know this now, that these crosses aren't just... Like, for instance, also I found with the cross associated with the church associated with Haile Selassie is Lalibela, and I got a few of them. Like I got this one from Ethiopia when I was there. It's the Lalibela cross, the one you hold. But this is the Lalibela cross, and some say that's Gabriel. It's an angel here. See the wings. And maybe not now. I think that's maybe more of a face, but this is a little bit different than this one that's right here, because this one looks more of a face. So keep in mind also, some may say that these are forgeries, and there's no such thing as forgeries when it comes to this stuff, because even though they may not be made perfectly, many of these people who are making this stuff believe that, because they're making it, they're favored in the eyes of God, and there's nothing wrong with that. That keeps them straight. That keeps them good. You can't, it's better than robbing people. So they make this, and some of them are made with not greater quality, and they're not that clear like this one. but the respect is still done because I can't do it, and I know you can't do it. Now here's another Ethiopian Lalibela cross that I have, and you see it's not as detailed, but it's said it's an angel. But now this one that I found is really detailed, and it's more specific as far as detail. And you see there's a mouth here again, and see that obviously the two eyes, and what they said would be the angel is pointing out, the angel wings. And well, they're pointing out now, so maybe this is more the realistic, this is how it eventually looked, but maybe this is how it really is supposed to look, and it's really a face. And you see the face there. Here, I'll put this one also in the, and you also see a face. Hold on, of course I gotta capture. Sorry, Selassie. Sorry. So here again, see that? All right, wait. Come on. All right. See the face? See the face? See the mouth is open? See the eyes? So the cross, I'm not sure totally if it represents Christianity or if it just represents direction, like knowing the directions, that God is everywhere. Maybe that really is what it represents, that the cross really means God is everywhere. But again, I don't believe in the story of Yahshua being hung on the cross. I don't believe all that. I think it's nonsense. I don't believe a man of God can get caught by men. He disappeared, and they showed that he disappeared. I was up in Kashmir, and the tomb that I was by gave off energy. So anyway, you see this, the 225th monarch, Haile Selassie. He was the 225th representation of the Christ. And realize the Buddha, the Dalai Lama is only the 14th representation. He's the 4th reincarnation. Now, some people will take this as the reincarnation. You could take it as you want. Reincarnation, maybe not. He could be just the post, held the post, and that was his position. He was he was the 225th. But look how many. It took him 225 to get there, where the Dalai Lama is only at the 14th or the 15th. And when he dies, it'll be the 16th or 15th one. So wherever they find it. And keep in mind also the word Buddha. I read somewhere that the Siddhartha Gautama is linguistically attached to Aramaic or Ge'ez, that the word comes from there. And I thought that was interesting. I just wish I was looking for it, but I can't find it. I swear I'm not making that up, but I read it somewhere that he's attached, that name is attached, and they were saying also that Buddha was from Ethiopia. Now I'm going to go as far as to say that the word line, reached India, and the lame line, I should say, reached India. But in the word Simba, they just say Simha. Instead of saying the B, they say ha. And that means line also, and it's in Sanskrit. I found literature of Buddha and the line, but that was when I was in India, and I didn't take it that seriously. And I thought I could find it again, and I can't find that literature again. But they suppress that because I think it's a part of history. It shows that an Ethiopian probably had a tamed lion and walked right up into India and he had to impress them. I mean, come on, you're walking around with a tame lion way back then. You can't imagine the impression. Now, it's no big deal to us now, but back then it couldn't have been normal. So, the literature of Buddha and the lion is missing. And I've shown that, really quickly, Buddha and the lion, man, it's real. They don't want you knowing that he walked with a lion. But anyway, this is a tanka that I got from India. It's about 100 years old. It's a real tanka. All the paint is made with it's real gold paint, and whatever orange stones and blue stones stones that they used to draw this with, they used it, and all this is really fine, all drawn by hand. Anyway, this is about 100 years old, probably a little, maybe older when Tibet fell. This is one of the things that got stolen and found its way to me 80 years later or so, 100 years later. But ironically, considering what I found, it shows that Buddha was a black man, probably more than likely an African. Again, if you look at his hair, he's got an afro, it's an afro puff. And the ears, if you look at the ears, they're stretched out. That's not an Indian custom, that's an African custom. Ears being stretched out. That's not, if you ever see it, they stretch out the lips. If you see in Black Panther, you see there's a guy sitting in the background with a plate in his mouth. You see what other kids are doing. That's an African custom. And Buddha they call Naga, or probably Naga, Nega. It's the same as this. Nega, Naga, Nagas. It depends on the tongue speaking it. Some people are going to say nigga, some are going to say nega, and some are going to say naga. Again, it depends on the tongue speaking it, especially in the East and in that area. So that's made this video to show that's what this is, that you're looking at images. You're probably looking at flowers or things that are, you're not just looking at a cross, but you're possibly looking at something more. And just pay attention, and just open your mind to it. Like for instance, the Mercedes symbol. You'll see here. This is about 80 years old. Is a shield, a medal that they give out for honor. I found it when I was in Germany, and see the symbol there. That's the cross of David. That's the symbol of David, the Star of David, and Mercedes-Benz uses it as their symbol. But it's been lost, and this is what I mean by history. It's being lost, it's being forgotten, and it shouldn't be, because even though I don't believe a good portion of African history is American history or African history, in other words, what I'm trying to say, I personally have found proof or truths or things that say that, and even before I found it, I already had an idea, and I was working with it. I had a theory that majority of Africans that are here are not Africans, but we were already here. My specific line, I'm talking about the Americans. My specific line comes from Jamaica, but speaking of the Americans, that many black Americans who think they're African are not African. We're being lied to about who was here and who was not. And I believe a lot of the lighter-skinned Indians sold out the dark-skinned Indians. If you look online concerning Indians, look it up, and all you'll see is a Hollywood picture of Native Americans. None of them have beards. They're all old pictures, but none of them have beards, and I find that interesting because that means that they were shaving. And they're all clean shaven, and if they're supposed to be indigenous in some way, why do they look so clean? And I believe there's some manipulation there going on with the pictures, but look at them closer. Don't take my word for it. But I believe personally that a lot of Americans were here already. A lot of blacks were already here, and this is part of the discrediting. And maybe from Bill Cosby to Bernie Mac and Isaiah, this other guy who died at the same time, Isaiah, I forgot his last name, Isaac Hayes, and Bernie Mac were making a movie about black history, and ironically they both died in a 2-week span of each other. And I never found what the movie was about, but I believe they were spreading some light on the truth about where black Americans really come from. And don't get upset by what I'm saying, because I even believe the Jamaican and Puerto Rican, Taino Indian, and the other Indians that are considered in the Jamaicans are a little false also. There's no real archaeological finds. There's no real archaeological digs proving, other than pictures and a few little old pictures showing people digging up stuff, but it's not in depth. It's not really showing anything. I believe there's a bit of a lie there, because they can only tell you so much about the Taino Indian and the Jamaican Indian that was there. So there's something wrong with it all. Some were already there, but what was there is the question, is what I'm trying to get at. But anyway, just spreading light on the idea, spreading light on the Rastafarian culture, and showing that these crosses are not just crosses, that they may be something